What's going on, guys? Wally here, and today I want to talk about something that is very close to my heart. It is the future of Destiny's Year 2 content, Year 2 Destiny content from the live team moving forward. Now, there was a recent update in the weekly update, and I'll have the link in the description below, where Eric Osborne goes into a bit more detail about what's going on, what to expect, and how we should maybe prepare or look at things for the future. So it says here, there's a whiteboard in one of our meeting rooms filled with scribblings and sticky notes that represent the developments planned for Destiny's not-so-distant future. Event activities, content, and features designed to keep you happy, entertained, and rewarded throughout the year to come. Some events and some activities that will become additions to your director. The first of these early 2016 experiences will be on a scale close to the Festival of the Lost. The second will be a far larger than anything you've seen since the release of TTK. There's also a significant update to the world and sandbox planned in the same window. Now he's saying it's true, we've updated the playbook based on what we've learned to date and to better tap into what makes Destiny unique. Last year, we waited all 5 months and 10 days between content drops after December. This year, the plan is to deliver the new experiences at a faster clip. To that end, the updates described above are currently slated to hit across winter and spring of 2016, with more to come as well. So the idea here is that there's going to be 2 semi-large event drops sometime in the future for Destiny Year 2. And I'm cool with that. I think this is more transparency than we've seen in the past, and this is a big thing that the community has been clamoring for since vanilla, is transparency. The surprise announcement of Sparrow Racing League came at a shock to a lot of people because no one really knew about what was going on. And I feel like, to a certain respect, this plays against Bungie more than it actually helps them. Yeah, there's a lot of excitement and surprise when that comes in, but there's also a lot of angst and worry and concern that the content that we're looking for may not come. And if it is content that we're looking for, it may not be in the shape that we're looking for. So while we may get good content like Sparrow Racing League, it isn't exactly what we want in terms of big content patches like DLC. Now again, in one of the videos I talked about during the week was the idea picking between free content and DLC. And if you had to pick, I think a majority of us would pick the DLC, the paid content, over the free little event stuff. In a perfect world, you would get both, but in the real world, you unfortunately don't get that. But the argument here is that there's going to be an omission of big DLC, at least for Year 2, so far from what we know, and that if you had to pick between nothing at all and complete stalemate across the board of content or live events, obviously you take live events. Now, I'm not saying that this is something that we have to just shrug off and roll our shoulders over for, and it's like, well, they're doing the best they can. It's just Bungie, you know? It's not like they're a huge corporation backed by another big corporation to make this happen. They're just a bunch of dudes working out of their parents' basement. That's not the case here. So there's a bit of sympathy that I think makes sense, but the argument of saying, well, it's okay, at least we're getting something, only goes so far to a certain respect. So it's walking that tightrope between how much is it okay, how much slack do you give Bungie in terms of content production that makes sense to you. So I would ask, and I would sort of impose really, is the concern that Year 2 content is going to be minor event-based stuff? Because when you look at Sparrow Racing, and when you look at Festival of the Lost, both are great. I think they're both really, really cool, but they're distractions. They're supplemental. They are not what you want. If you were eating a huge dinner, the Sparrow Racing League and the Festival of the Lost is like your rice, and the chicken is the DLC. And like, yeah, you're gonna eat rice. Everyone eats rice. It's good for you. You like rice. I like rice. But if you had an option, you'd take the bomb-ass chicken. And obviously, you want both because you're trying to make gains, but sometimes you can only get rice, and that's unfortunate. And I think that moving forward, yes, I'm happy that we're getting any content at all, but what I'd like is more transparency. And I know we're getting some of it now, so I think it's somewhat pessimistic for me to be like, well, I want even more transparency. Show us everything. To a certain respect, they can't do that, obviously, because they're a business. And if they promise or show us something that doesn't come, they have to face the immediate backlash of the community, like what happened with Dark Below and like what happened with House of Wolves with the miss of a raid. So here are the big trouble points that I want to impose on you guys and get your responses and figure out what you guys are thinking. Are you guys good with the information revealed? Are you happy with the idea that there's 2-3 big events kind of coming, good amount of updates coming to the game world in year 2? Or are you on the fence? Is it not enough to keep you playing throughout year 2, throughout January, February, and March? Is it something that you're worried about? Are you going to just quit Destiny for good? I'm not sure. For me personally, I'm obviously going to continue to play because I have good things to play about. But unfortunately, it's one of those things where I'm playing less and less and less because at a certain point, there's diminishing returns putting that much time into content. Like, yeah, Sparrow Racing League is good, but again, it's supplemental. Festival of Lost was cool. I got my Traveler mask, so I have a big ball shaped on my head, so it's like, you know, the ball is bald, I'm bald, it's perfect kind of thing. Like, that is fulfillment for me, but it's not fulfillment in the sense of let's go get that new raid done and whoop its ass or kill that boss and get gear, as opposed to, you know, hey, this is some cool cosmetic stuff. There is that fine divide, and I hope in some respect Bungie finds the right way to go about it. Like, Sparrow Racing League is great, but I wish it was more fleshed out. I wish we had 7 or 8 maps along with it, maybe a couple more quests with it, maybe some betting in the races too. There's a lot they could have done with it, a lot more that they're going to do with it, obviously, with the feedback from the community. But I just am somewhat concerned and somewhat worried that the Festival of the Lost and Sparrow Racing set sort of the staple point for what we're going to see throughout year 2. Just sort of shallow content drops that are really cool, thought out, marketed very well, but when you actually get around to them are somewhat shallow. Irk saying that that is not the case and that we're supposed to expect big stuff, bigger stuff than we've ever seen before. A lot of people like to equate the big content drop with a DLC type content. I'm not going to go that far. I don't think so. I think we're talking about 2 different things at that point. I think DLC is different than live content teamwork, and nothing is going to go over a DLC level. It may get somewhat close, but it's never going to be more content than that. Maybe it is, though. Who knows? So the question I am going to ask to you guys is, are you cool with the amount of transparency that Bungie has presented so far? Do you want more? And of course, are you ready for year 2's amount of content? Are you concerned about the lack of content? What is it? What is driving you to continue to play? Or what is driving you away? Let me know, guys. You're all awesome people. I love you all very much, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.